What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Pop Complex. It's Nickvember. Welcome back to the Pop Complex and Nickvember. This is a month-long celebration where I'm taking a look at classic Nickelodeon cartoons and television shows from the 90s. Now, last time I took a look at Nickelodeon's Doug, so if you haven't got a chance to check that out, please check that out right now. I'm going to put a link in the description to my video on Nickelodeon's Doug, but today I'm going to be talking about Rugrats. Rugrats premiered on Nickelodeon August 11th, 1991, alongside Doug and Ren and Stimpy. This was part of Nickelodeon's new trinity of original cartoon series airing exclusively on Nickelodeon and created by up-and-coming creators, Nicktoons. Rugrats was co-created by Arlene Klasky and her then-husband Gabor Csupo and their friend Paul Germain. The initial run of Rugrats ran from 1991 to 1994, consisting of 65 episodes over 3 seasons before getting canceled. There were only 2 new Rugrats episodes after this, a Rugrats Passover in 1995 and a Rugrats Hanukkah in 1996. Both specials were critically acclaimed and were the first specials of their kind for a children's cartoon series. After successful ratings for both of these specials, as well as the syndicated first 3 seasons, Nickelodeon picked the series back up for a new 4th season that premiered in 1997. Rugrats stars Tommy Pickles, a baby who turns 1 year old on the series' first episode, Tommy's First Birthday. Tommy is the only child of his parents, Stu and Dee Dee Pickles. Rugrats was such a unique and groundbreaking show because it focused on the world from a toddler's point of view, with the adults acting as secondary roles in the overall plots of each episode. The view of the world from the baby's point of view is charmingly simplistic, yet highly captivating due to their extremely active imagination. Even the most mundane, everyday situations become an over-the-top adventure for the babies. It's obvious that the babies are the stars of Rugrats, so let's take a look at each one of them. There's Tommy Pickles. We've already introduced Tommy as the main character of the show. Tommy is brave and adventurous with no fear and a desire to experience everything. He is an obvious leader. Tommy usually keeps a plastic screwdriver hidden behind a teddy bear, pillow, or sometimes even in his own diaper to break himself or the other babies out of the crib or playpen so they can set off on their next adventure. Tommy's signature catchphrase is, "A baby's gotta do what a baby's gotta do." Tommy's best friend is Chucky Finster. With his thick square glasses, messy red hair, and perpetually clogged sinuses, Chucky is the scaredy cat of the babies group. Chucky is lovably afraid of most everything, but he has his moments where he will stand up and be brave when he needs to be. Chucky is slightly older than Tommy in the series, around 2 years old. Tommy and Chucky are extremely close friends, and a lot of early episodes focus on Tommy and Chucky's adventures together only. Then there are the twins, Phil and Lil DeVille. Aside from their voices, Phil and Lil are so identical that the only way to distinguish them is the bow in Lil's hair, Phil wears blue shorts, and the color of their shoes. Phil and Lil are pretty fearless, but always provide the grossed out humor for the show with their fondness for mud, bugs, and sometimes old food. Then there's Angelica Pickles. Angelica is Tommy's cousin and the oldest baby out of the group, being around 3 years old in the series. Despite her angelic name, she is quite the opposite, acting as the antagonist and ongoing source of fear and stress for the other babies. Angelica uses her age and size to bully the other babies for her own purposes. Angelica has an extreme, sometimes detrimental fondness for cookies. Then there's Angelica's favorite toy, Cynthia, a Barbie doll parody whose hair has seen better days. Even though Cynthia is Angelica's toy, she almost seems like another character in some episodes. Watching the show as a kid, you appreciate the point of view of the babies, you relate to their point of view of the world, their fears and insecurities, and active imaginations. But rewatching the series as an adult, it becomes very entertaining to focus on the adult's point of view. It's almost like rediscovering the series as something fresh and new. Let's take a look at the adults and how they fit into the show. Stu and Dee Dee Pickles. Stu and Dee Dee are Tommy's parents. Stu is an easygoing dad and toy inventor who is always coming up with the next idea that will put Pickles' toys on the map. Dee Dee is a part-time teacher who always consults the books and advice of the series' fictitious child psychologist, Dr. Lipschitz, for all of her parenting endeavors. Chaz Finster. Chaz is Chucky's dad and has been best friends with Stu since childhood. It's easy to see where Chucky gets his unruly hair, sinus issues, and insecurities when you watch Chaz in the show. Although he is a bit on the nerdy side, Chaz is an extremely loving single father to Chucky. Betty and Howard DeVille. Betty and Howard are Phil and Lil's parents. Betty is loud and boisterous, always looking like she just got finished working out with her sweatband and her sweatshirt with the female symbol. Phil and Lil's dad Howard is frail, thin, and very timid. He mostly comes off as not much more than this, and is unfortunately forgettable most of the time. Drew and Charlotte Pickles. Drew and Charlotte are Angelica's workaholic parents. Drew is Stu's brother, making Tommy and Angelica cousins. Drew and Charlotte shower Angelica with toys and attention, presumably to compensate for the time that their careers take away from her. Charlotte is always portrayed as working almost non-stop, always in her work clothes and always on her cell phone. Drew tries to be a strong father figure, but ultimately always bows to the wishes of Charlotte and Angelica. Grandpa Lou Pickles. Grandpa Lou Pickles is Stu and Drew's father, and he lives with Stu and Dee Dee in the Pickles household. Grandpa to me is the most level-headed, common-sense adult in the show. He always seems to be pointing out the foibles and neuroses of the other adults. To the dismay of the other adults in the show, Grandpa often regales them with stories of his youth that always involve the number 15, such as, "We had to walk 15 miles in the snow." Grandpa Lou often babysits the babies, but usually dozes off, allowing them to escape and go out on their next adventure. Then there's Spike, Tommy's dog. Spike is loyal and trustworthy to the babies, the family, and most of all Tommy, even riding him around sometimes like a horse. The premise of most of the early series episodes focuses on the baby's incredible imagination, and it transforms everyday situations into epic events. Tommy, and most of the time the other babies, always escape from their crib or playpen and wander out into situations they really should never be in. Sometimes thinking that Stu is really an evil robot, that the car is a spaceship, the playground is an Old West showdown, getting sucked down the drain in the bathtub, and even getting lost inside a giant toy store. The babies always return to their parents or playpen in the end, unbeknownst to the adults. The parents are always loving, caring, but each show's plot thrives on their cluelessness and non-observation. A subtle detail of the show is the fact that despite their age, the babies can talk to each other, but never to the adults, with the exception of Angelica, who is portrayed as old enough to talk to the adults. Tommy and the other babies speak as young children would, often cutely mispronouncing words they've heard before, saying things like, "We got sponsibilities," and "As Bob is my witless." There's also the baby's beloved dinosaur, almost Godzilla-like parody character Reptar. In the Rugrats world, Reptar always appears on TV, cereal, candy, and a famous episode where he gets his own live show, Reptar on Ice. In the Season 2 episode Meet the Carmichaels, we're introduced to Susie Carmichael when her and her family move in next door to the Pickles. Susie is the same age as Angelica, acting as an ally to the babies because she stands up against Angelica's bullying. In 1998, the Rugrats movie introduced us to Tommy's new baby brother, Dylan Pickles, affectionately known as Dill Pickles. After the film, Dill was incorporated into the show. Running for a total of 9 seasons over 13 years and spanning 3 full-length feature films, Rugrats may stand along with SpongeBob SquarePants as the most well-received and longest-running Nicktoon. It even inspired a separate spinoff series in 2003 called All Grown Up, focusing on the pre-adolescent stories of our favorite babies and their families. Well guys, that was today's Pop Complex Nickvember review of Nickelodeon's Rugrats. If you like this video, please hit that like button. Also, please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified anytime that the Pop Complex uploads a new video. You don't want to miss a thing. Also, please support and help spread the channel through Patreon. The address is patreon.com/the Pop Complex. There's a link in the description. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time on Nickvember from the Pop Complex.